live up till I'm on top.
Yo,
yeah.
no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now
What up, what up, what up? Welcome in to Friday's edition here, October the 10th of Pregaming with Sports Money. Forgive me for just a moment while I get to the getting here. Lots of getting to get to. Just need a minute to finish this up, because I think we have a nice treat in store for us tonight. 7 p.m. is when the action pops off. I just made an ad. I just made an addition to the card. Bear with me. It's been a busy freaking day. Nice long call today with my boy. And I am excited. Every so often, you just need that little kickstart, that little boost of enthusiasm that says, man, wait till you guys see what we have in store for you, because there's a lot of big things happening. Now, I can't say. As soon as I say, they take away. So we don't want to be in that game. But I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So just bear with me while I finish this up for one more second. I know you guys like the banners, so I just need to finish up my banners. And I'm trying to type and I'm trying to talk at the same time. So, I can chew gum and talk at the same time. I can have a cocktail and fire down a cig at the same time. But it's definitely a little bit more on the difficult side for me to make sure I get all this right with you guys. So last. All right. Last spot. Cool. Sorry about that. How unprofessional of me. Eagles got their butts kicked last night. That sucked. There may be some problems out there. Man, what a tough day to be on a Philly parlay, huh? Flyers lose 2-1. Eagles got busted up. I don't even know what it was. Just a disgrace that was those boys after the show there. Everyone's ripping their shirts off like they're Hulk fucking Hogan. And then and the Phillies, of course, got busted up. And if you had just gone to first, man, just gone to first. That was a big game to be on the line and busted up like that. So it's a tough day to be a Phillies fan last night. But it's okay. We will live on to fight another day. It just takes a little wind out of your sails when all your teams lose at the same time. But look, shit happens. We fire up again. And look, there were some positive things happening last night. La Tech not positive whatsoever. -5L. The Islanders, they lose 4-3. That sucks. And the Flyers lose 2-1. And that was a +185. That sucks. Absolutely. And listen, I was pretty freaking dialed in with the Buffalo Sabres. Can't argue with me there. 4-0 shutout win for the New York Rangers. And rumor was Gary Bettman was on premises evaluating the organization and their structure for the Buffalo Sabres. Not saying they're going to be an Arizona Coyotes takeover, but if you read between the lines, Kim Pegula, she's had health issues, and she's the director and owner of operations. And Terry just, I don't know, is he drilling wells? Is he checking his daughter in at the women's? I don't know. So I don't know. The fucking roster's a mess. Still a mess as they go into Boston. You're going to fade Buffalo tomorrow. Write that one down. In fact, let's see what the price tag looks like. as we evaluate tomorrow's games. We only got a small slate today, so we got plenty of time. Yeah, Boston's a -110. It's a gift. Boston's going to smash. Write it down, circle it, highlight it, underline it, do whatever the fuck you got to do with it. Just set a reminder for 7 p.m. tomorrow. Watch the Bruins smash. There's a freebie for tomorrow. What else? I mean, it was a tough day. Look, gave out Southern Missouri at -3. It was 2.5 all day. This show started. It was at 3. It moved the way we wanted to. They ended up winning by 3. They were crushing Georgia Southern, too. That's a shame. The Eagles suck. Look, Cam Scadaboo gets the touchdown. I gave that one to you guys at +155. Theo Johnson gets 2 receptions, not 3.5, because ultimately the plays I gave out there on the live stream with the under 30.5 passing attempts for Shart. I don't know why Jackson Shart. I don't know why I forgot about that. Cashed. And so Theo Johnson's receptions did not. But I did give you guys a parlay live as well. I did give you the Scadaboo parlay with Jalen Hurts. That was +350 or so. That was easy money. We cashed that Colorado Vegas parlay. That was easy money. +133. We cashed the Vancouver Colorado parlay I gave out live to you guys. That was easy money. I'm sorry, Vegas Vancouver parlay. Milwaukee got busted up 6-0. Anaheim lost 3-1. Further plays, Jeff and I used the salami. The grand salami. That sounds tough. It sounds tough when I say it that way. We used the salami, though, and gave the calculation out there last night to determine why we were taking that Canadian game over. It cashed. Despite the contrary opinion of many, it cashed. It was an easy casher, 5.5. They got 5-1. Well, I don't know about easy, but it cashed. So that was all good stuff. Also, the overnight tennis play we gave out at +174. Pagula Osaka. Maybe it's a little square, but it cashed. And so just kind of a disappointment to finish the night so strong, but just the fucking Eagles, Flyers, and Phillies. Ugh. At least baseball's over from Philly's perspective. Tired of watching them bats. They went cold, man. Felt like I was watching the Mets. Bats just went, whoa, poof. Where'd they go? What happened? So we live to fight another day. Fight we will. We've got ourselves a schedule. We've got 3 college football games. I added one. There's a 4th one. I'm dipping in my toe into the FCS waters. We've seen Ramon Scott do it so darn successfully. I want to try. Then we're going to talk about that AL baseball game, the Detroit Tigers and the Seattle Mariners, and then we'll bring her home with the WNBA. Now, look, I already told you I'm taking Phoenix, so no surprise. I'm on the Mercury. That's one I gave you out 2 days ago. I gave that out 3 days ago. And I laughed because I said it's a gentleman's sweep. So I already bet it, but I think you should bet it as well. So we'll talk about that game. I've got 2 props for you in that game. Look, backs against the wall. I'll show you how I correlated backs against the wall to what the fuck is going down. And what's going down is a huge card tomorrow. The entire NHL will be in play starting at 1:40 p.m. The UFC will be in play. They've dropped one fight. Some other dude's got a broken hand. Who knows what's going to happen there? So I think we're down to 12 fights in UFC Rio. But we'll be popping off at about 3:45 to give you guys our plays, our pregame analysis, and our best bets throughout the day. And I think there's 1,052.7 games in play for college football. So we will be betting the shit out of that. Major League Baseball? Whatever it takes to get paid. Cubs and Brewers will finish off their series tomorrow. We will fire on that as well. That one's at 8 p.m. So that'll probably be towards the end of the UFC card. I'd imagine 6 hours starting at 4. That'll probably be 9:30 that the UFC stream gets done tomorrow. So did I miss anything? Is there anything else that's going on tomorrow? Fuck it. We'll probably hit some NBA preseason. I'll tell you what the benefit of a small card tonight. Lots of time to prepare for tomorrow. And I need it because there's a lot of shit going on. I spent a lot of time today with some update stuff, and I'm excited about it. It just took me away from the prep I wanted to do for tomorrow early. So it's life. That's life. I can hear the rest of the words in my head. I just don't know how they go. So there's another one. Trying to bring you guys a new song every day. I hope you appreciate that. Shout out to Peter Gracia. Getting on the old member board. So appreciate that, you guys. You know, we're member supported. We're viewer supported. We don't have big business backing us up. So we need you guys. We need you out there to smash the thumbs up button. We need you guys out there to join us on Winnable. The Win Club is deep now. We got all the boys rolling. You can get their best bets, their premium selections over there, and super low cost. Look, we're not trying to go out there and bend anybody over. We're not charging you guys $1,000 for just our college football package, but we'll knock 20% off it for you if you buy today. Just asking to say, hey, if you win a hand at blackjack, you throw the dealer a nickel. Why not consider the Winnable program? Show your favorite cappers here on the best damn capping planet in the channel. A little support and love. It's your boy, Mikey Money. I'm inviting you to join the Sports Money crew on Winnable. Get all of our premium best bet selections.
For a low monthly cost, you get the very best bets delivered instantly to your phone by text the moment they're locked in. No delays, no missed lines, just the smartest plays at the best odds.
We do the work, you get the plays sent straight to your phone right when you need them.
Don't wait, don't guess, don't miss the line. Join the winning team today and start cashing tickets with Winnable.
Very, very short card today, but I do appreciate everybody that's taken the time to stop in. Gave you guys a little sneak peek of tomorrow. A big board tomorrow. Man, it's a big board. And we'll be talking about the NFL as well. We'll talk about sides, totals, player props. We already got a freebie last night from our guy, Sean Fox, giving out his free player prop during the show. Well, it wasn't free. It's a premium player prop from him, but he gave it out for free, I guess is what I meant to say. So all fun, all good. Good stuff out there. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. I like some fights. There's quite a few of them that I'm down with tomorrow. So some good plus money odds. I'll tell you right now. I'm going to tell you this right now. I expect this line will drastically change. Let me pull it up. Let me give you a little fucking inkling into what I'm doing tomorrow in the UFC. Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up and give you the best fight odds I can find on the table. I want to say it was plus 600. Let's see if it's moved. Let's see. Where the fuck? Watch they take the fight down on me. All right. Where'd it go? Plus 310. You got two options. I'm going to go to a women's fight, WMMA. I'm going to go to the Julia Polastri battle. I gave this out about 2 days ago. And I'm going to take her to win inside the distance. Younger fighter versus the aged, slower fighter. And really, despite women's fights going the distance out there, I think this is one of those spots where you got to just take a look at it. Even if you're not going to watch the show tomorrow, look at it. Don't miss out on this plus money price tag. It's dropping. And she's a big favorite. She's a big favorite for a reason. She's minus 600. This number's coming down. The over 2.5 rounds, they're head faking you, I believe, in this one because it's a women's fight. And they're saying this is going to go to women's scorecard. I don't think so. I think Polastri's got too many paths to victory. She's too quick. She's too skilled. She's got a high-level fight IQ. She moves forward. She's aggressive. She shoots takedowns. She's a rounded fighter against an aged Kowalski. Kowalix? I don't know. You guys know the deal. I don't have to say it to play it. But inside the distance for Polastri, plus 310 right now. Plus 310. Also, look, if you think the other girl has a chance in hell, fight does not go the distance, is plus 255. So I don't think she does. I think the line's telling us she doesn't have a chance in hell, but hey, I don't think the fight goes the distance is the bottom line, and I think it's Polastri that wins. So that's how we're going to pop the card up for you guys. Now, let's get to the business of this card. We don't have a whole lot to go into tonight. We'll talk a little high profile on each of these games. We'll get them all done here in a timely manner, try to wrap this thing up in 25, 30 minutes, and get you guys onto your weekend. Friday is the best damn day of the week, TGIFF, but you guys know the deal. Before we start, thumbs up time, especially if you guys are watching this on the replay and you're thinking, hey, it doesn't count. It sure as fuck counts. You guys here do a great job with the thumbs up. That's how we grow this thing. That's how we get more eyeballs on the channel. And what we're trying to do is build the sharpest damn capping community in the business. I respect the shit out of our cappers. We've been developing since October of 2023 and the 6 p.m. time slot for 2 years. I've been sharing the way I go after it. You guys have been sharing the way you go after it. We're all working together with a common goal, and that is get the money from the bookie's back pocket and stick it into ours. Now, the competitive threat in the business is they say not to share how we cap. Don't tell you what to look for, how to go after it. Just give them the place, because then they'll need you more. And in reality, I believe the abundance mentality. Let's let everybody learn how to fish, and all we ask is for a little tip every so often if you win a big score. Regardless, the way we grow this thing is by the thumbs up. Cost you nothing. Even if you don't want to tip the dealer, all you got to do is hit that thumbs up button. That'll get them eyeballs out there via YouTube. What happens? Everyone talks about the algorithm. Well, guess what? When you thumbs up it, it shows people that are like you that you're watching this show in aggregate, not you specifically. And then what happens is that it's going to people just like us, gamblers, sports bettors, that are looking at other shows on their timeline. And then those guys will come in here and we'll have more people helping us win more bets with more looks across the board. I love the way our live shows are building out with these live player props. And it comes down to you guys helping us grow this thing and build this thing. So if you haven't done so already, smash that thumbs up button and we'll get the fucking work. All right, there was something else that was just on the tip of my mind. And all right, doesn't matter. We will roll on, and hopefully I will recall it as we advance. All right. Cool. Let's get after it, you guys. Peter Gracia, shout out to you as a new member. Nunya. The Nunya business play of the day says, let's win some fucking money. Sports is the cause. Money is the effect. Isn't money the cause and sports is the effect? I don't know. You got me there. I had to stop and think about it for a minute, Nunya. It's been a busy day. Shout out to you, Nunya. Shout out to Bo Jackson. There's my guy. Mariners and Jays in the ALCS. He says LFG. Nunya says, I can rip a vape and sip my Deep Eddy lime and cranberry while I wait. All right. Fuck the Eagles. Shout out to Jay Peasy. Shout out to Jay Peasy out there. I dropped an F-bomb on him today, specific to his team. And he responded. And then I responded. Shout out to you, Jay Peasy. Congrats to your Dodgers on that dub. You're right. They didn't need to play. Although we did make some plus money on that game before yesterday. Kripke, that walk and run was more just, dude, I know. Look, I don't know if it was controversial. Maybe it's because I'm not one of those guys. If I check you in hockey, I'm not leaning over to pick you back up. I'm not. And if I box you for 12 rounds, knock you down, I'm not picking you back up afterwards. And I'll tell you what, if I got 3 walks and a man on base, all bases loaded with 3 walks, 2 strikes, probably going to hit you. Hit by pitch and let you go to the base. I'm not going to walk you in. That's for fucking sure. You're going to feel it tomorrow if you get a walked in run on me that beat me in the overall series. Maybe that's me. But I am a nice guy. Nunya says, got it bet in my hand and ditched it for a Hertz passing parlay. Mookie Betts took that 101 mile per hour like a G. Nunya says, I like a Fresno State same game parlay. He's got one cooking. Robert McCormick's here. Elliot Jameson's here as well. Tough 6.5, dude. The 7. Man, some of these college football games have gotten mighty sharp. Have they not, Elliot? Man, I was talking about that 3 from the 2.5. Chosen one says Fresno State, Colorado State under 47.5. You know, the interesting part about that is it's unlike the NFL, right? Because I told you guys the NFL, the spreads haven't really mattered, right? I don't know if it's going to remain in that pace for the entire season. Think about how fucked you are if you just started building a database like the last couple of years. All last year, it was favorites. The spread has mattered so little in the last 2 years that the bookies took teasers from -115s to -135s. Think about it. They developed a term called teaser protection because favorites have been dominating so damn much. But lately, look, Patriots beat the Bills. Giants beat the Eagles. Funny thing, we predicted the Patriots to go in there from the AFC. I predicted the Giants to be the second team in the NFC East this year. So anyhow, I digress. Jay Maines here. He's ready to roll. Elliot James says, I'm also on Fresno State in the under. Joe Dubb's here. My guy, Joe Dubb. Appreciate him being a member with us here. Stop Geoengineering. What's up, dude? Let's go. I'm the great. I like the way that sounds. Magnifico says, do Bronx. Yeah. Glad he was on one, wasn't he? Magnifico says Baker Mayfield under a half an interception. Interesting look there. Let's have a weekend, Mikey. Dude, I'm ready for a weekend. I'm due for a fucking monster. We're racked up. We're ready to attack. And Robert McCormick says, I like to win. Nuke Worker just hit the like button. What up, Nukey? Says, let's go Blue Jays. Congrats to your Blue Jays, Bo and Nuke and me. That's my AL East team. Tech Me says, what up? Looking for 3-2 Mariners. Can you make that happen? I don't know. I'd have to call into the stadium, but then that puts me in jeopardy for tomorrow's UFC event. Bo Jackson says, Yankees lose. Vladdy's voice. Nuke Worker. Jay Maine says, weird North Texas line. It moved to -2.5, and they played a way weaker schedule. Got to look at the number of tickets go opposite of 60%. Well, let's go. Let's pop off with the first game on the deck. It's my battle in the FCS. Now, don't get a ton of FCS data. So I'm probably not the most efficient guy to talk to you about cash flow splits, but I can end around it. So let me do that right now. Let's end around this fucker, and I'll tell you why I like the lower scoring spot in here, and it really has to do with one side. Actually, really two pieces, but one side. Where'd it go? Where did it go? There it is. So my end around here is just looking at BetStamp. I'm just trying to look at the numbers. I mean, 85% of the cash is coming in. I don't get bets in cash. I just get, it's an aggregate number. So it's 85% on the Penn side. Actually, these are picks. These aren't cash flow splits. These are where the picks are coming in. So 85% on Penn. You know, think about BetStamp is it's blended between sharps and I don't want to say squares. Pros and public, I guess. It's probably the best way to say it, right? Everybody can use BetStamp. So the number of picks, 85% of the picks, we'll call that the bets, have come in on the Penn side of things. Marist, them little red foxes, 15%. I had the unfortunate privilege of going to a Marist game. It was a women's college basketball game, though, so it wasn't that bad. 15% on Marist, them red foxes. Now, I'll tell you this. FCS-wise, overview. When I first moved to Philly, the only place you could get Labatt Blue was at a little bar across the street from the UPenn campus. Actually, it was on campus, but it was across the street from the stadium. So I was there quite a bit. And then the fucking UPenn games were like $3 to go to. So college football-wise. They stink. What are you going to do? You are who you are in the situation that you're in. So at the end of the day, bottom line is this. They just had a big win against Dartmouth. Dartmouth's one of the Ivy League specialists out there, 36-24. So they're not having any problem scoring. They've been putting up some points, and their quarterback's been out there. He's efficient. He's effective, and they minimize turnovers. So they're pretty three deep. You know how we always just hear Bill Belichick talk about you got to play offense, defense, and special teams? Like the top third of the Ivy League to me happens to be the Quakers. And the Foxes, well, big upset coming off of that San Diego win. It was 19-14. So you got a little travel factor in here. You just played the game of your life. The preseason favorites were San Diego to win their division. So, you see Marist comes out there and gets it done, but it was 19-14. It was led by, frankly, a hell of a defensive effort. So I don't spend a lot of time watching those games, but I know that they're offense, I guess. I was looking at their wide receivers and tight end numbers, and you don't know what you're going to get out of these guys. So you got travel coming off a big win to me. And look, at the end of the day, Marist has never beaten an Ivy League school, period, ever. Zero, zilch. and they put a 53 on this number. I'm gonna bank on this. I don't care if it's a lower scoring game or not. I think Penn's gonna go out there and bust the doors off these guys, and I don't think Marist scores more than a field goal in this game. So I like Marist team total under. I like UPenn. I like the full game to go under. I just don't think what happens here in these Ivy League games is you go out there and run up the score. Like, you're not looking for style points to try to make the big bowls, right? You play who's in front of you. You balance all 2 or 3 of your lines out there so everybody gets practice when it comes to the Ivy League, and you never know if they get to the FCS or some type of a. Even if there is some opportunity for these guys to play in a playoff situation, you want guys with experience across the board. So we'll kick the card off. Jay Man says, I worked there. UPenn forever. No shit, dude. I wish I knew you back then. I used to get plenty of fucked up out there. The old SEPTA from Conshohocken. It's easy, quick ride. It was a cheap ride. And like I said, the only bar that had Labatt Blues. It's great. And then, because my friends in Philly like to go elsewhere, they always thought it was weird that I wanted to go to a UPenn bar. And I was like, why not? Chicks are cool, they're good looking, and it's fucking cheap Labatt Blues. What's wrong with that? But that's when I ventured into the world of Yingling. Don't mind me a lager as well. In fact, it's funny now, as the evolution goes, there's Labatt Blues in my fridge. But when I go out, I like to get a Yingling lager. So I don't know what that means. You know, if I got to drink beer, those are my 2 choices. If you're keeping that in mind for my Christmas presents this year, just keep those in mind. Actually, first of all, don't buy me anything for Christmas. Second off, don't buy me beer for Christmas. You guys know what I drink. So anyhow, there's a freebie to kick the card off there. Freebie meaning I don't have any graphic for it, just something that we're going to try to play and see if we can't get some luck happening in the right direction for us. Let's roll on and talk a little bit about, well, you guys have questioned it in the chat. What the heck is going on with this line? It's number 24, South Florida. They played a hell of a schedule this year. Hell of a schedule. What does North Texas Mean Green's done? What's going on there? I'm going to tell you. 2.5s on the total, 60% of the bets, 58% of the cash on the Mean Green. Clear advantage, Mean Green. A little bit of bigger money coming in on the Bulls, but not enough. In fact, just now, 59% on the Mean Green. So a couple point movement there, meaning some late public money coming in on the Bulls plus 2.5. Why not? They beat everybody. 62.5 has moved to 67.5. But we have 57% of the bets and 51% of the cash on the under. So you have a big reverse line movement there. I mean, that's almost a touchdown with over 50% of the bets coming in on the under. What is going on? To me, right off the hop, that feels like that's moved too much. You're a 50-50 situation and you got a 5-point spread. That kind of makes you scratch your head, doesn't it? Well, look, I've been talking, this reminds me, every time I look at North Texas, I think of the conversation C-Mac and I had last year, just about North Texas is one of them sneaky fuckers that just never quits. They just don't go away. They keep banging and banging and banging. And you'll look at them in the second quarter, you'll be like, shit, my bet's dead. And then you look at the fourth quarter, you're like, wait a minute. Do I have a chance here? What's going on with this game? And I think that's the case. When you look at these two teams, to me, the biggest one just comes down to, again, efficient and effectiveness. And where? The passing game. That's where you're chunking the yards and beating teams up. They're balanced. Here's the thing. I look at these offseason moves, right? First and foremost, part of the reason North Texas was always down going back 2 or 3 years ago, and then you look back and they come back, has a lot to do with the pace, the speed. You're going to look and be like, man, it's the first quarter. I feel like each team's had the ball 8 times because it probably is true. Which, that could unfortunately lead to why this line has moved 5 full points. But there's a unique style of offense that you see for a team like Texas or from North Texas. Speed, interesting offensive formations, and a strong defense. A strong defense that's been complemented by bringing in players in the offseason. Tackling, Pro Football Focus ranked North Texas 8th. So they get the job done. They brought in linebackers and cornerbacks, 2 of the most complementary positions in defense when you're trying to go out there and shut down the passing game. So now you've taken a team like USF and you've turned them into a one-dimensional team. How many times have we talked about this? I try to, and unfortunately for us, we got enough shit schools playing early in the week that we can go out there and identify some of these spots. But look, there's no question for USF. This is a step back. This is a step down in pace. And for UNT, this is a huge upgrade for these guys. And if they can go out there and shut these boys down, man, they're running to the conference championships. So expect everything North Texas has. They're going to turn this USF team into a one-dimensional team that has to run the ball. And you have an efficient and effective attacking offense that can do it both ways. They can run and they can pass. Plus, they've got a bit of a dual-threat quarterback out there in Drew Massmaker. He doesn't turn the ball over either. Your question of step back and pace. Florida, Miami. Boise State, by the way. Boise State, playoff team from last year. Now, we know Boise State lost Genty, and that was the big conversation. They were 4.5-point dogs that first game of the season, and they went out there and whooped them boys. And they beat Florida as an 18.5-point dog. And then they lost. They got their barn doors blown off by Miami. Maybe Miami's that good. They play South Carolina. They bust them up. And then they play Charlotte, and they bust them up. But North Texas is 5-0 as well. Now, North Texas' schedule certainly has not been as good. There's no question about it. But they're ahead of the Bulls in the playoff standings. They got a 5-game winning streak going. So at home, they're 3-0. And on the road, they're undefeated as well. So 1-1 are the Bulls on the road. That's where I kind of feel like the difference comes into play. I just like this Mean Green team. I like that they don't give up. I think they're a tough, gritty, outstanding program. And because of the way the speed and tempo those first 2 years weren't clicking early, with the players coming back in the depth that they have across their roster with the experience in the offense and tempo that they run, I think they're going to be just fine this game. I think it's going to be a surprise. USF's going to go, what the fuck just happened? We're getting busted up. Shout out to We Do. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Chilling for the rest of the show. I got 3 $10 free plays left. Good for you, man. Robert McCormick thinks the over is a good look. Jay Main says, I see north of 80 in this one. Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. Shout out to Wine Time. What up, Wine Time? Hit the like button, chat. Appreciate you, my dude. Says over 66 for him. Yeah. Look, that pace is going to be something that's, and because of that, it might be sloppy football, but it's going to be fun to watch. And you got probably 2 of the best teams. And what'll probably happen is this will shape up for championship rematch. So a lot on the line for these boys, a lot of stake. And I think it'll just be a ton of fun. So Throw the Kill says North Texas, let's go. Peter Gracia says, set Mikey driving, but tailing. Let's go. Let's go. All right, you guys. Onward, upward. Rutgers and Washington. And Rutgers. Look, this is another one. I heard somebody the other day said, look, about 17 times in every 5 minutes. And I was like, dude, I hope I don't sound like that. I hope that's not what I sound like here. I apologize if I do. Except for the Conor McGregor voice. I apologize for absolutely fucking nothing. I might have to clip that. I'm going to try to clip that tonight. Washington opens as -10. They move to -10.5. You got 66% of the bets. You got 52% of the cash. Big money coming in. Washington's moved to 0.5 point in Washington's direction. For what it's worth, a little bit of late money's come back. There's some 10s out there now. So it kind of gets to that situation where I feel like, are we going to get fucked again on a push if we take the Washington side? It's going to be a 10. If you like the Rutgers, you get the 10.5, plus 10.5. If you like Washington, you get the 10. As elementary as that sounds, I can see that being the case. Now the total's gone from 59.5 to 61.5. And 64% of the bets and 57% of the cash are on the under. So it's moved up 2 points. Money coming in on the under. How can you not like what Washington's been doing? The only loss they took was to Ohio State. In hindsight, that's not a bad one. That's a pretty good program. I hate to say that. I told you guys before, if I could go to one more college football game, the one I'd like to go to is in the shoe. It's the only spot I really care to go that I have. I mean, I've been to a ton of, I'd like to go to an SEC game too, but I don't know. I feel like my college game day going days are just about numbered. Prefer to cap all the cards instead of sitting around playing beer pong and puking all over myself. But I guess that's just me. Look, they beat up Maryland. That was a big, big, big game because they were on the road. Maryland, probably a little bit of a letdown spot coming off of that game. They came back out of there, just whipped up on Wisconsin as big 10.5 point dogs. So going into the bye, usually teams go out there into the bye and they pick up a W. And that's exactly what they did. They beat the brakes off of Wisconsin. And they beat everybody else up along the way. FAU, Northern Iowa. I don't care about that Towson win in their schedule either, but big statement spot. Rutgers, on the other hand, they beat 2 MAC schools. They beat Norfolk. Shout out to Michael Vick. They got busted up when they got into conference play. That to me is the big statement here. 3-2 is misleading because it's not what you're doing. It's who you've done it to, I guess. And Ohio and Miami of Ohio. Look, the schedule is going to turn, and we're going to look back on these 2 teams and find out that they were some of the shittiest teams in the MAC. And then you beat the barn doors off of FCS school. So level of competition. Let's put a check mark in the side of Washington. I mean, 24-6 for that Ohio State game. It was a loss on your home turf. I mean, we've seen it's aging incredibly well, so we can't discount that. But they held down a potential playoff team to 24 points. So give them a little credit there to kick this thing off as we start talking about this game. But look, defensively, Washington. Look, I did it again. Fuck. I got to get myself a little swear jar. And every time I say look, put a fucking penny in it and see what it gets after the end of a month. Maybe that'll teach me. It's the points. Washington's offense is incredibly prolific. They're averaging almost 40 points a game, and they rank 16th in college football. They put up a shitload of yards, 450 a game. That's good enough to rank 32. So their offense overall ranks 14th nationally. You get a lot of yards, you put up a lot of points. It shows you're efficient, you're effective. Their offensive success ratio ranks 10th overall in college football. They got a dual threat quarterback. He averages 330 yards. and look, in those wins, they dismantle their opponents. So keep in mind, Ohio State's the loss. Let's take that loss. Let's put that 1 over here. Everybody else, he's averaging 260 yards passing, 70 yards rushing, and they can run the damn ball pretty well as top of that because they've got a guy, maybe you've heard of him, Jonah Coleman. I like Jonah Coleman for an anytime touchdown tonight because he's just a beast. And I think what happens when you're out there dominating a team like Rutgers is you just want to get this fucking game over with. So you move to a big lead early and then you chunk them out, but you don't do it through the air. You move the chains. And they'll do that, I think, with a combination between their running back and their quarterback. So on the other side of things, Rutgers, I just talked about it. I mean, we don't even need to get into Rutgers. 38 points allowed, 31 points allowed in their games against Iowa and Minnesota. And again, if you want to play the who's game of the Big Ten, there's no question those 2 teams are not it. I was high on Iowa preseason. I will admit, I guess I fell in love with their FCS transfer quarterback, and I thought, well, that's what they should do. We shouldn't be Carson Wentz's out there playing FCS, winning a bunch of your system quarterback at a North Dakota State and winning a bunch of championships. They win the championship every fucking year. Good for you. You got an FCS ring. Move to the FBS. So I give Iowa's quarterback some credit for that, but I don't give any credit to Rutgers for getting out there and getting busted up. So look, I think the offense is better. I think the defense is better. Look, I did it again. Look. Looks all over the fucking place. That being said, they can put up points. So do we get in a shootout? And I think the answer is yes. Do I want to lay the 10 and 10.5? I thought about this game. I said to myself, what if we do find ourselves in one of these little trappy 10-point situations? Do I want to sit around like I did last night for that -3 with a shit team? No. And I do think Washington bust them up, but I've seen Rutgers pull some crazy bullshit out of their ass. Not literally, but figuratively. So I think this is going to be a fun game. This is probably the game of the night. No doubt about it when you look at the schedule across. College football-wise. Let's not dismiss what's happening in Major League Baseball and what's happening in the WNBA. I'm really excited about this WNBA game. I can't believe it. Chance to close out the year, and I got 4.5 units of possible gain on the line. So, ugh. Gotta make some money tonight, boys and girls. That's what that just meant. So I'm going to take Washington's team total over 34.5. I just talked about their prolific offense. And then I think the game goes over because Rutgers can score too. And I think what happens here is Washington plays with their food a little bit. And that 10 points, whether it be a backdoor, I don't care how it gets there. I just think this is a spot where we're going to see points, and more points. Now it's moved from the 60.5 just an hour ago to 61.5, and it's on its way to 62. So for a later game, wouldn't surprise me to see this thing settle at 62.5, but I paid the 115. I paid the extra nickel. to get that thing down to 60.5 at the time. I'm okay with 61. I guess I'm okay with 61.5. I guess a point wouldn't really scare me off. I've talked shit about people that let a point scare them off. These damn games are so sharp lately, though, in college football that it does make me pontificate a little bit. So Guido says I should have picked Coleman. I picked Duff. Yeah, coin flip. Maybe if Duff scores early, you take some cash and you sprinkle it on Coleman. Maybe that's a good strategy. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to live bet. I've been having a good time live betting. Although I live bet Theo Johnson last night. Live bet Theo Johnson at halftime. It was 12-1. Fucking guy got one pass in the second half. That sucked. Anyhow, double dipper in the Washington State game. I think that's going to be a fun game out there. Now, this Fresno State, Colorado State game. I don't know. Both these teams have a nasty habit of not blowing out teams on one side or the other. This line's been funky because it's been sitting at 6.5 forever. And you got 55% of the bets and 56% of the cash. I think what's on the Colorado State Rams, the reason I think it hasn't moved is because if you look at these two teams overall, they're both like leading the nation in the inability to cover by margin. So I don't know for what that's worth, but this total's gone down 4 points, 51.5. It's now 47.5. And you have 61% of the bets and 71% of the cash on the over. Surprisingly, North Texas has got the most tickets on the night, but I think that's because it's 7:30, 60,700 tickets. The Washington game, 39,800. And the Colorado State game sitting there at 30,500. Why do I think that's significant? Because it's still getting pretty good action. I mean, compared to a Akron Zips, Miami Redhawks has got 2,300 tickets. So it's a pretty sizable sample to show there's pretty good reverse line movement on this total. And that's kind of the way I looked at attacking this game. Yeah, Fresno State, 5-1. A lot of fun to watch. I like the Bulldogs. I think I like the Bulldogs more because of their basketball team than their football team in this case. But, you know, I was kind of going back and forth about, again, the sides versus the totals in this game. And I just don't get it. Why are the Sharps betting the over and this line's dropping? That should be a little bit of a concern. And, you know, look, well, the problem I have with the 6.5 is Colorado State's offense is fucking horrible. It's horrible. One of the worst in college football. And Fresno State, they've been playing defense. It's consistent. You know, overall performances. You know, they 5-1 with an interesting go on their schedule. Because you see Nevada. They went on the road to Hawaii. That was a 23-21 game. Ood and odd, by the way, if you haven't been to Hawaii, you're going to get ood and odd. Georgia Southern, that's the team we just saw play last night. The Eagles. They were 3-point dogs. They came all the way back, didn't quit in that game. And look, they played, oh, geez. Yeesh. They played Georgia Southern, and they beat the brakes off them. It was 42-14. That game I was on, Georgia Southern. And so I'm all fucked up with the Georgia Southern read this year. There's no doubt about it. I guess I got to maybe step away from it because for some reason, I thought based on their previous game, they would win. And I discounted the loss that Fresno State took because they played in Kansas, and Kansas had just opened that massive $500 million college football stadium after not having a home game for like 3 seasons. That place was fucking ruckus. And I thought, wow, that's a tough one to recover from. And they got busted up. So good on them. They came back. They beat Oregon State. We found out Corrales isn't what it is. You know, we're seeing Oregon State lose to everybody and anybody under the sun. They whooped my Syracuse Orange 56-7. Then they go to Hawaii. I mean, they're just on a tear. No doubt about it. But their defense is dominant. Minus Kansas. Take Kansas out of the equation. 14 is Georgia Southern. That team that put up, 27 yesterday? Was it 27? All right, whatever. Covered. It was a lot of points. Oregon State, they were in Corrales. We know it's a tough place to travel. It's a tough place to play. They let up 27. They followed up a Syracuse team with 7 points. That Syracuse team beat Clemson. Like Clemson's not that much, but in terms of the measuring stick in the ACC, Fresno's a solid team. So I think you got to look to their defense, and I think that gives me an opportunity to play the under. I like the Colorado State side too. I may or may not have Sent that out to the Win Club earlier today. I just don't know why the line hasn't moved off that 6.5. Maybe it's because it's a later game. They don't have all the tickets in the world on it, maybe. But look, the number 2 team in the division, the Fresno State Bulldogs, are coming in town, and they're looking to make sure you keep an eye on your girlfriend tonight. Colorado State under 47.5. Low juice spot, too. I think it's because it's come down. It was 48.5 this afternoon. It flipped to 47.5. So I'll take the under. I'll count on that defense. And look, I don't know what Colorado State's going to do. Their offense is pretty anemic, to say the least. I don't know. I mean, look, it's going to be tough not to do that. 16 points against UTSA, the Meet Roadrunners. Washington State, they put up 3 points. They did put up 24 on San Diego State. So I think this can be a low-scoring game. I think it's a good opportunity for us to benefit and cash with the under. I do like Colorado State. I will take the points. I don't think the wrong team's favored, but wouldn't surprise me entirely if Fresno State kind of dunked themselves here. The spot that's coming up for Colorado State's Hawaii, but it's at home. So San Diego State's the team that they're playing on the other side for Fresno State. And then they got a game against Boise. So we'll see how it plays out, but I'm going to take the under in this game. I'm going to roll with them boys. Let's roll on to see what you guys have to say. Come back with the under. Kripke says Georgia Southern quarterback had a really bad night. They covered. Well, they pushed. Jeff Matthews says, really? That's the other element I forgot to mention. Fort Collins got some elevation deals to challenge Fresno State with. That's what it would probably give them the home court or home field advantage, I would think. So that be it for college football. We got 4 games. We got an FCSer snuck in there on a 3 FBS slate because I like to bet. But I only want to do it if I think we have an edge. And I think I've shared you guys where I feel all these edges are here tonight. So we'll see. We'll fact check it and be back to talk about the wins and losses tomorrow because that's what we do. Transparency is the most important thing we have in this business. And the most important thing we have right now is the ALDS, the Detroit Tigers, the Seattle Mariners, Jorge Kirby, and Scooble. It's going to be a good game. Now, unfortunately, I have to own the fact that I talked about how fundamentally flawed the Mariners are. We're at home. I did asterisk myself and say the players they brought in Suarez and was a Naylor from the Arizona Diamondbacks, those were good acquisitions. Get some bats, get some consistency, and they picked up down the run for the playoffs. Whereas Detroit, on the other hand, was leading the entire time and fell back. We know all that narrative. This series is tied at 2. But we don't know where the cash flow splits. 58% of the bets and 58% of the cash are on the Mariners. How has the line reacted? It showed concern. They went from plus 114 to plus 105. I want to check one thing because I didn't see. And I'll tell you the total here real quick too. Let me do this first. 5.5. Fucking 5.5. Woo! 89% of the bets, 86% of the cash on the over. My young friend Jose Bouquet and I were texting earlier today. He said, hope you're taking that over. Slow number, man. That scares me. It scares me on both sides. I would have to take the over if I was going to play a total. It's the only way I would go down. I was looking to see if I had the sharp respected betting report, and I don't. Sharp action report, I don't. Maybe it's because it's one game and everybody took the fucking night off, right? What I do know is, if you guys remember, I talked about the key number or the key play, like in horse racing, the key play. The key play is the play that you tie to everything and you parlay everything to bring your juice down on everything and increase your odds of winning. Shout out to Skunk Blaster. The scumbag play of the day is in. It's Jorge. 6+ Ks. And the first 3 under 1.5 for a same game parlay from Skunk Blaster with the plus 210. Shout out to you. Scumbag play of the day is in, you guys. Write it down. So, in any event, shout out to you, Skunk Bag. Appreciate you, my guy. Skunk Blaster. Appreciate you, my friend. Look, the key number, the key bet from Vegas is the over 5.5 is tied to everything. So any play I gave out earlier, any play you want to make, key bet means they parlayed the over 5.5 to every, and you can do that. If you look at your book, there's going to be a drop down menu in most, well, not most, but they'll have a key option. And if you're wondering what that key is, that means you're keying that game to everything and they'll automatically put it together for you. So I'm not advocating you do that. No, sir. No, sir. Talk to you a little bit about the strategy for me behind this game. In the Win Club the other day, I gave out the Detroit Tigers to win the AL. Mostly that was because I was sitting on, what the fuck? I was sitting on an ALDS win ticket at plus 550. Now that number's come down. There's 325s out there, implying because Detroit's one win away from moving into the AL. I'm sorry, it was Philly versus Detroit for my World Series tickets. And then I took the NLDS for Philly, and I took the Detroit Tigers to win the AL at plus 550. They're now down to 325. And I think that, there's a high probability. Well, whoever plays this is obviously going to play the Jays. And I love the Jays, but I got money on the Tigers. So I guess I just took the harbor boat tour around the island, like when you go on vacation, you jump in the boat, they give you the cruise, the sunset cruise, where they feed you some free garbage drinks and some bullshit snacks. And they're like, there you go. You had dinner and drinks. Well, I'm still fucking hungry, but you watch the sunset on the harbor boat cruise. I just took the whole way around the island to tell you guys, I'm taking a little middle bet here. And so plus 550 to win the AL. And I know they still have to get through Toronto. I'll find a way to continue to work those middles in play on the other side of things. But I got 2 units on the Tigers to win this. I'm sorry, I got 1 unit on the Tigers to win this thing. I put 2 units on this spot here tonight. I don't rarely do that. So this is a 2-unit bet for me. Take that for what it's worth. I don't care about Scooble. The most bet action is for him to get over his strikeout prop. And anytime I see that, just strategically, I want you guys to know the way that I was approaching this, because I felt like I still have 3.5 units in play, which is where the current number is for Detroit to win the AL anyways. So for what it's worth, I'm going to go to Seattle tonight. My strategy has a lot to do with the middle against the rarely taken future ticket, but I was comfortable taking the future ticket because that thing will be paid by next week. So it was money just being tied up for 10 days or so. That wasn't a big deal to me. That's always the gripe. Like the start of the season, 500 to win. It's not very good. You could make that money in one day, getting on a hot streak. So you guys have heard me say that time and again. I won't preach to the choir, but I will finish off the cap with the night's card on the WNBA. What do you say? We talk about some women's basketball. 55% of the bets, 94% of the cash are on the Aces. This line moved with one component. Sabally goes down with the head concussion there last game. She literally took the back of her head into the opponent's knee. She was down and out. Thing is, them gals didn't quit. They stuck it through the whole. They were down 12 points when she got busted up. And they came back and lost by 2. So, and that was in the fourth quarter. So it was a valiant effort. Now, sadly for us, I gave you guys the same game parlay. Asia cashed. Las Vegas cashed. But the under got busted. And we moved it to 165.5. So that was going to be a 5-unit gainer for us. So that sucks. But I did tell you I thought this was a gentleman's sweep. And we laughed. And I still laughed because I'm immature. My maturity level is that of a fucking mosquito. But I want to attack 2 player props. And here's the one I'm looking at. Look, all in. Your season's on the line. You're supposed to play strong in the paint at home. You're the Mercury. You're supposed to play good defense at home. You've taken down teams like the Lynx, the Liberty. So I had to look at Sammy. Regular season, she was averaging 9.1 points. She had a 36% effective rate from the three-point line. Postseason, she's dropped to 6.2 points, which kind of makes sense. Your 3-point shooters not shooting as much because you're trying to kind of keep the clock and you're kind of running. That's why the unders make a lot of sense in these later postseason playoff games. Her 3-point accuracy dipped to 28.9%. So you know me. I love finding that middle, playing to the back of your baseball card, right? 36.1% on the season. She's down 8 points in the postseason. And guess what? She was 2 for 8 in game 1. Then she rolled out 0 for 3 in game 2 and 0 for 5 in game 3. And now your back's against the wall. If I call it, I guess if you got to call it a she's due opportunity, I don't know. I guess you call it what you want. But I am going to play her over 2.5 3-pointers. It's plus 225. The one, by the way, the 1.5 threes. The fuck. There we go. The one, or over 1.5. The fuck. There. Fix that. The over 1.5 threes is getting juiced. It's up to like minus 190. And if you look at DraftKings, they've taken this number down to 178 already. So this one's on the move with Whitcomb coming back out there. The books are showing vulnerability, and I just think that's a great opportunity for. She's gone 0 for 3 and 0 for 5. She's a 30% shooter. She's underperforming in the postseason, and her team needs her. And Spally's out of this thing, so you got to expect her to be in a position to take a little more ball dominance out there. And the other one is the effectiveness when it comes down to Alyssa Thomas. Her points, she's hit the points line every game. With the Sabali situation, she's got to pass the ball around a little bit more. So even though she's hit the points line every game, her attempts have gone down. So in other words, her efficiency and effectiveness have gone up, and the books really haven't changed the price tag on her numbers across the board. So I think that's just another one where we kind of slay the dragon. We'll take her Thomas over 25.5 points and assist. I think the injury creates the opportunity, and we'll take Whitcomb over 2.5 threes at plus 225 with the Mercury. What do we know happens when the star player goes down? In this case, the star player happens to be a really giant star player. I think we want to go out there and capitalize. So that's going to do it. That's how we put the bow on the show. We made it right on the dot, you guys. Great job tonight, everybody. Thank you guys all for participating and contributing with your best bets, your best efforts, and your time here on a Friday. Stop Gio says 50 likes. Cheers, y'all. Shots and take if you got it. Hey, if you haven't done so already, smash that like button for us out there. Help us grow this cause, this community. We need your guys' help here. We're doing it all together. We're all trying to do the same thing, and that is extract the money from the bookies and put it in our own. So on that note, you guys, smash it again if you haven't done so already. And join us tomorrow. Look, my man, Ramon Scott's going to pop off at 9 a.m. The morning steam's going to give you the first look to cook the book out of Las Vegas. Where's the sharp betting coming in from overnight action and all morning? So you don't want to miss that action. And we'll be live 3:45 tomorrow. So early UFC card. They're down in UFC Brasilia de Brazil. And we're going to be betting the shit out of that card. So have yourselves a great weekend. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck.